It sounds like we're going to have a little bit of more quiet afternoon today.
Yeah, it's a little quieter this afternoon, although we do still have some flood advisories. And over the next, say, 3 or 4 days, not as much action. But there was action down south. Take a look at this. Can you see it there?
Oh, I see it.
Little funnel cloud. Yeah.
Is that today?
You know what? It was either today or yesterday. And I'll tell you what's interesting about this one is kind of a tropical funnel cloud, some deep moisture out there, and you can form some of these. Now, not what you'd call a tornado and not real strong, but still, you see this on the horizon, you're thinking, we have action and we've got problems. Very cool shot there, though. Appreciate it. And pics at krqb.com. We always love to see your pictures, and please just make sure you're safe when you're taking them. Not worth taking a risk. Flood advisories out there in Roosevelt County, down across the southwest as well in Grant County and Hidalgo County, too. And we'll show you why that is in just 1 second. As far as the storms go, well, some impressive storms out there. Across the northeast, we're seeing things start to die off a bit. Some of these showers coming off the Sangres starting to lose some of their punch. Across the southeast here, spot storms especially developing and kind of coagulating across parts of Eddy County right now and Lee County, too. Most of the action in Lee County is actually pretty strong. And, of course, as you get up into Roosevelt, you can see why they continue to have flood advisories there with storms continuing to push down to the south. But across southwestern New Mexico, Grant County over into Hidalgo County, pretty good storms, especially just to the west of Lordsburg at this hour as well. But Albuquerque, pretty quiet. And I think we're going to stay pretty quiet throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening. Not that we couldn't see a brief storm come off the Jemez and down the valley. That is a possibility for us, but not looking all that likely right now. 62 to 66, partly cloudy, a spot shower possible for tonight. Tomorrow, 90, not as much action out there in the afternoon, but again, a few storms will be possible. We just won't see the volume of storms we had last week. Across the north right now, 80s and 90s for us. Down to the south, mainly 80s, thanks to the copious amounts of moisture out there that we're recycling across the state here. So essentially, what we've got going on here is, if you remember last week, we had high pressure over Texas, and it was funneling moisture up into the state. Well, we still have some of that moisture in place, but the high is shifted over into western New Mexico. So we don't have the monsoon flow in place. What we do have is leftover moisture that we add the heat of the day, we add the mountains into the mix, we get enough lift, and we create those thunderstorms. And that's what's going to happen here over the next few days with temperatures in the 80s and 90s. Now, as we get through late in the week, this high may eventually shift back over in toward Texas. If that happens, that will reopen the door for the monsoonal flow, but at this point, that's by no means guaranteed. So we're going to have to hold off on predicting that for you, but just realize it is a possibility. And you can see here, we're going to go through the precipcast. I don't show you this because it's particularly impressive. It's really not. But what it does show us is that the mountains, Sangres, East Mountains, down into the Sacramentos and Gila are going to be the focusing points for the storms. None of these storms are really going to be all that powerful, but some of them could move slowly enough to create flooding issues. By Wednesday, you can see Sangres and Gila, and that's about it. So overall, kind of going to be on the wane here as far as storms go, but spot storms will be a possibility. Watch the high country for those storms to start, and then eventually roll into the valleys. 80s and 90s across the northwest for tomorrow. Pretty quiet storm-wise. Sangre de Cristo's good chance of at least a spot storm for tomorrow. Back toward the south and west, scattered storms here, 86 Silver City, 93 in Lordsburg, and over to the southeast. Scattered storms will be possible here as well. 80s and low 90s. East Mountains temps topping out in the low 80s around Cedar Crest, Sandia Park. A little warmer, Estancia and Moriarty. Pretty quiet around Estancia and Moriarty for tomorrow. Here in the Albuquerque area, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. Slight chance of a shower, 90 for a high downtown. 7-day forecast for Santa Fe. Relatively quiet through Thursday. And then over the weekend, if we get that high to shift a little bit, it could make things a little more interesting on the 4th of July. We'll wait and see, though. I wouldn't worry about that at this point. I think we're going to be okay. I don't think the high is going to shift in a big way, but we'll wait and see what happens.
Okay, we're still early out, so we still got some time.
Yeah, no question. In fact, usually we don't really crank up the monsoon flow until about the middle of July, so we're doing just fine.
All right. Thank you, Mark.